You're taking a look at our Turfway Park time-lapse camera in which there's plenty of snow, but also plenty of horses and plenty of sun being reported, not just in northern Kentucky, but from around the entire tri-state. Good afternoon, I'm meteorologist Erin Ashley. We're seeing not only the sun, but also the warmer temperatures that come with it, unlike this last weekend in which it was just so cold the sun didn't even matter. Whereas today, seeing plenty of it on all of our cameras. It's going to help melt the snow a little bit. You can kind of see it down here on the sides of the road close to the station here at Fox 19, but generally we are going to see most of the snow try to melt today, especially the snow on the roads, on the rooftops, things like that, just because we're able, those surfaces are able rather to absorb a good amount of heat. So you got the sun and you have temperatures near 50, if not in the 50s right now. We're mild, a few sprinkles in the forecast today, so be mindful of this if you're taking advantage of the beautiful weather. We do have just a few sprinkles southeast of Cincinnati possible the later we get into your afternoon. A reminder that the snow depth will start to go down a little bit, but we still got a good couple inches in spots around the tri-state. And no, I'm not talking about the big mounds of snow that we still have in parts of the parking lots in which like the plows have actually gone through and taken care of it. I'm talking about stuff on the grass, stuff on the roofs, things that just haven't been touched since it fell over 2 weeks ago. So here's what's on our radar. We're mild and we're looking at a good amount of sunshine right now. Tomorrow though, as we see the rain showers pull through today, that's associated with a cold front, we are going to be colder tomorrow. And then we do have some new information about that weekend forecast to unpack. So your Valentine's Day forecast, spoiler alert, it's looking drier and therefore a little bit warmer too. And that's the good news for this. Other good news, plenty of sun, going to try to melt a lot of the snow, melt a lot of the ice today, but reminder, temperatures are going to be falling again overnight into your Wednesday. Freezing. We're going to watch out for a refreeze. I already showed you that Turfway time lapse. Getting ahead of myself. Let's show you what it looks like in Turfway right now, which again, sunny. Looks great, 53. We've already surpassed the forecast high, and we're likely just going to see this number keep climbing. And the sun is working wonders here in combination with these southwesterlies. So we're not concerned about We're not concerned about much today, except for the sprinkles that are going to be coming on in. And look, while around the tri-state, we're just now getting, wow, we're in the 60s in Falmouth, 61 degrees in Pendleton County right now. Some of us are still in the 40s, low 40s in Hillsborough at 43. What we're going to watch with this map is a warm front lifting back into the tri-state. And sometimes we see that with more clouds, and I think that's what our forecast was banking on, was a little bit more cloud cover with that warm front passing through. But we've seen the mostly sunny skies, and we've seen these temperatures climbing a good amount. Again, 53 here in Cincinnati. Feels good outside. Definitely take advantage of it. We're seeing temperatures staying in the middle 50s into the afternoon today, and a reminder, we do have a few sprinkles. So this is our visible satellite image. All the white that you see there, that's not in motion. Snow on the ground. We still have a good amount of it, and I would be very surprised if this looked identical the later we get into the day. A lot of what you see here is going to try to melt, eventually refreeze as ice, so just be mindful of that. We're not the only ones with the snow. And that warm front has been allowed to pass north of us, which has brought us into like this, we call it the warm sector, in which we're warm, we see the sun, and then we're waiting on that cold front because you know it's going to be coming on in soon. And with that, the winds are going to kick up. We're going to see a few sprinkles firing off on radar. But that's not going to be until later in the afternoon today. We can really soak in these high temperatures in the middle 50s, and that sun will set today at 6:10. So with the cold front passing through, we still have a nice breeze coming in from the southwest, and we'll see that over the next few hours. As the cold front passes through, we're going to see the winds start to shift, and that's what the arrows at the top of your screen are, the wind direction. You can kind of see it from the southwest becoming more westerly, and then eventually from the north. It's the cold front. And the numbers you see there are the wind gusts. So yes, noticeable breeze stepping out the door. Today, gusts anywhere from about 25 to 30 miles an hour, maybe an isolated 35-mile-per-hour wind gusts as we work overnight into your Wednesday. But again, that's going to be with that cold front passing on through. Mostly dry cold front too. I talked about this over the weekend, and I brought up the chance that if we see this bump up a little bit, which we have, then we would see these rain showers firing off. So we're mainly seeing the south and east of Cincinnati, whereas the rest of us are just looking pretty dry. We're going to be mindful of a couple sprinkles right around the evening hours, so you can kind of see that firing off from about 6 to 8 o'clock. Not tracking anything in the way of thunderstorms. This is all just going to be rain moving on through. If you are tuning in, I say from in northern Kentucky, Claremont County, Brown County, Adams, Highland, maybe even Clinton County, you guys can expect some light sprinkles tonight. That's it. Not a washout. You don't need to cancel your plans over this. In fact, your temperatures, after we get through a high of middle 50s, with those clouds sticking around, we're going to be pretty mild heading into your overnight hours. Though as we start to see the rain come to an end, the clouds are going to start to part just a smidge, and those temperatures are going to be allowed to bottom back out in the middle 20s tomorrow as the cold front passes through. So we're falling asleep, or at least most of us, if you fall asleep before midnight, are falling asleep in the 40s, and then we're waking up in the 20s tomorrow morning. So stepping out the door on your Wednesday, back below freezing, which means anything that is wet overnight will refreeze. Also, watching out for potholes this time of year. What happens is the snow melts, comes water, it sits on the pavement, it seeps into the pavement, and then overnight it freezes. And when that happens, it expands. And that will break apart the roads, the sidewalks, things like that. Yeah, it's just going to be a concern. So tomorrow morning, waking up in the 20s and the 30s, another freezing start to your Wednesday off to school. Winter is back. We're hanging on to some clouds. And towards the afternoon, we're chilly. We're just not as chilly as the last few afternoons, especially your weekend. So 39, your forecast high for tomorrow. And we're going to pair that with just a little bit of sun. Now, as we step into your Thursday, that's the coldest day this week. Still tracking a high, though, above freezing. So we're slowly seeing the snow melt after today, but it is going to melt. Friday, warming up once again. Those temperatures go back into the 40s ahead of that Valentine's Day weekend, which we got that new information for you guys coming up here in just a second. Let's go ahead and see if there are any questions. And I'm not seeing anything. Okay. So over the last week, we've been below freezing. No shock. That's what the stuff on the left is, that blue line. And now the horizontal blue line, that's the freezing point. So that's 32 degrees. You can see that our forecast is starting to open up a little bit more, not just to the 40s, but maybe even the 50s for Valentine's Day weekend. Those are high temperatures. The mornings and the evenings are still going to be chilly. It is still winter, but we're at least seeing consistency in that weekend forecast now. And a new trend in it is eyeing the warmth, but also the dryness too. And you'll see that the rain chances have dropped to a 10% on Saturday and a 20% on Sunday. Here's what it looks like on your weather timeline. Let's get you through it. So not too concerned about the rain chances for tomorrow, Thursday, or Friday. And as we see Saturday approach, you're going to notice more clouds coming on in. These are going to be upper level clouds. They're going to filter out the sunshine. We're still going to get a nice breeze from the south. It is going to be nice and warm on Saturday, Valentine's Day. Notice the rain tries to get close to us. However, it does pass south. That's the newest information. If we see this adjust even by about 50 miles to the north, of course, that would bring the rain chances with it, but this is the new information. And we also see that rain chance passing south on Sunday as well. So the weekend really has dried up a lot, and as a result, has warmed up a lot as well. And then we step into next week. We hang on to the nice dry conditions and therefore the warm conditions as well. But here's your updated Valentine's Day forecast. Trending warmer and drier, a high in the upper 40s for Valentine's Day. And then as we step into your dinner time plans, of course, those temps could be dropping into the low 40s, 30s, and maybe even the 20s overnight into your Sunday. So Valentine's Day, that's 4 days away. That's on Saturday. We do have a little bit more to wait for actual springtime. Astronomical springtime. Meteorological spring starts on March 1st. That's exciting news. But with the ups, the downs, you can already kind of see that the seasons are trying to change a little bit with the jet streams pulling on through the ups and the downs. The warmth versus the cold. It's kind of a weather battlefield, if you will. So today we're milder, just putting a bow on things here, a few sprinkles, and then we work into your Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, back in the freezer overnight, not too bad in the afternoons, and then this weekend is trending drier and therefore much warmer. Here's your forecast for this upcoming week. So not the rest of this week, but next week. Because we're looking drier, we are looking warmer. Highs are going to make a run at 60 degrees. That's the newest information. So a good change of pace from the well below average temps we've been sitting in for weeks. Now it looks like we're going to get a week plus of above normal temperatures. That also reflects in those overnight lows. Sure, we're going to freeze overnight tonight, and so the snow melting will become ice overnight. Be careful. And also be careful of the icicles. I've been hearing icicles falling from the roof here at Fox 19, and I feel like I got to say something about that. But then as we work into your weekend, and most certainly next week, those overnight lows do kind of lift and away from the freezing point. Here's your first alert extended forecast. 54 is your new forecast high here in Cincinnati, and then we're watching out for the few sprinkles in the late afternoon into your evening. As the cold front passes through, it does bring the cold with it. We're waking up tomorrow back in the 20s. Wednesday afternoon is colder than today, 39 your forecast high. Thursday hanging on to the dry conditions, 34 your forecast high after a cold start in the low 20s. Friday, a good amount of sun and a nice wind shift, back in the 40s. Near 50 Saturday, near 50 Sunday. Both days are trending drier. Great for the dinner reservations on Valentine's Day. And then those highs just keep climbing, you guys, back into the low 60s by Ash Wednesday, a little over a week from today. All right, no other questions coming on in right now. Let's keep on rolling. We've been very cold since mid-January. We haven't been back in the 40s since mid-January, let alone the 50s. It's been over a month since we saw that, and to put a nice graph to it, of course, we've been in the freezer for weeks, and thankfully things are starting to change and look a little bit warmer as we head into the third week of February. We're looking at the temp outlook. Above normal temperatures expected not just for us, but for most of the United States. It does come in with a little bit more of an active pattern, it looks like. So looks like our precip is looking slightly above normal, but you consider that the fact that temperatures are also leaning a little bit warmer, primarily going to be rain. I'm not seeing any snow in that 10-day forecast. We will let you know if that changes, though. Okay, let's see if we have any other questions coming on in, and I don't have any other questions. Okay, so the time now is 12:12 on this Tuesday afternoon. We're hopefully going to have a little bit more clarity on that weekend forecast for you guys coming up later on today on Fox 19 now at 3. But for now, signing off here in Queensgate, I'm meteorologist Erin Ashley. Have a great rest of your Tuesday.